Yes, recording is on.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to welcome you all to our candidates forum. We're starting a little bit behind, but we'll make up the time. I'm Vernon Davis. I'm the chair of the Nominations and Elections Committee, and I wanted to just go through some of the basic ground rules for the presentation. Tell you a little bit about the committee. Which consists of myself, J. Vernon Peterson, class of 73, Marion Terrain, class of 90, Gloria Hartwell, class of 79, and Andrew Sproul, class of 88. Our nominations and elections email address, if you have questions, additional questions that you'd like to have answered, you could email at AALUPANOMANDELEC@gmail.com. That is the email address for the Nominations and Elections Committee. And what we would like to do is after the presentation, if you would like to ask a specific candidate a question, we will have a Google Doc set up where we will ask them to answer your questions, or if it's a general question, we'll ask the specific candidates. This forum is for the candidates for Board of Trustees for the term of 2021 through 2025. So it's a 4-year term. The election is on May 1st, and you'll be voting for 2 candidates for Board of Trustee. For the executive officers, we're also having executive officers election as well. It's a 2-year term, and that term starts in 2021 and goes to 2023. So it's a 2-year term. Again, the election for both executive officers and also for our trustee candidates will be on May 1st, 2021. The code of conduct for this forum is as follows. Again, this is a forum, it's not a debate. So after there'll be an initial 3-minute introduction by each candidate. The candidates will then have 2 minutes per question and for that response. And finally, there'll be a 1-minute closing statement by each candidate. We ask that there be no interruptions from other candidates or from attendees while anyone is speaking. So we'd ask you now, with the exception of the candidates, to put your settings on mute for if you are an attendee. Participants are the candidates. They will be allowed to speak, but we don't want them to speak out of turn. All candidates and the office and the audience will maintain civility. And we ask that because we are a Lincoln family. But there will be violations and penalties if the 2-minute rule that we've established is being violated. You'll get a 1-minute penalty if you do have a violation of any of the rules of conduct here. The second violation will result in your removal from the forum. Now, the committee does have the latitude to, within this framework, to relax some of the time constraint rules to allow the candidate to complete their answers. If they're on the last 20 seconds of their response, we will allow some latitude there. But we ask you to stay within the 3-minute rule for the introduction, the 2-minute rule for answering any specific questions that are asked of you, and the 1-minute rule for your closing statement. All right. Our first candidate up, we're going to be talking to our executive officer candidates. Our first candidate will be Sharice Carney Nunez, and she is the candidate for president. And Sharice, we're going to format the question for our executive officers, and you all were presented these questions ahead of time. So we want you to include in your response telling us a little bit about yourself and why you're seeking the office or position. Again, we want to know what your vision is and what you hope to accomplish in your role as president. And what experience do you have that makes you qualified for this position? I'm going to take my share down, and I ask that our committee spotlight Sharice for her introduction as our candidate for president. Sharice?
I'm running for national president of the AALU for one primary reason: to enlist 25% of Lincoln's living alumni as members of the association by 2023. Now, I call that a moonshot because it is. We presently have fewer than 700 members, which amounts to about 7.7%. So doing the math, we'd have to sign up more than 1,550 new members. That may be a lot of work to do, but when I think about the one thing that would make all other things easy or even possibly effortless, the answer is clear, and that is to dramatically increase our membership. So I think about this 25% goal in three parts, which I call the 3 E's, which you can see on my background. The first is to enlarge, and that's to dramatically grow our financial AALU membership. Next is envision, and that's to redefine what AALU membership means. Third is enlist, and that is sign up a vast network of Lincoln University champions who are prepared to broaden and deepen the advancement of the institution. So who am I and what are my qualifications? I'm Sharice Carney Nunez. I am a 1988 graduate, a physics major of Harvard Law School, Harvard Kennedy School of Government, class of 1992. I am a STEM professional with 20 plus years of experience in various senior roles at the U.S. National Science Foundation, most recently as acting deputy division director for the Division of Graduate Education. This division is a $250 million organization. I've been the president, and I am currently the outgoing president of the DC Metro chapter of the AALU for 4 years. And with the support of my amazing Lions in leadership, we have grown that chapter to about 104 members, the largest in the AALU at this time. I'm also the chair of the National AALU Committee to revise our Constitution and bylaws, appointed by Madam National President. And with the work and the hard work and the dedication of my able and energetic co-chair, shout out to Audrey for that, I have, and my committee, we're on track to propose really substantive changes to keep the AALU on its current track to continuous improvement. So to close out, I'll just say my professional competencies, which span law, policy, audit, financial management, business operations, program management, ethics, higher education, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And my personal competencies, which include listening, emotional intelligence, external awareness, a collaborative spirit, a relentless work ethic, and like all of you, a love for Lincoln. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sharice. And I'd like to bring to the floor Camille Clyburn. Camille is running for vice president of the National AALU. And Camille, we'd like you to address the same questions in terms of why you're seeking the position, what's your vision, what do you hope to accomplish in the role, and what experience do you have that makes you qualified for the position? Welcome, Camille.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Yes, so I am running for the vice president position. So I am Camille Claiborne, class of 2009. Currently, I am a high school English teacher. I have a master's degree in secondary education. So I'm running for the position. Well, number one, the position was open, so I decided to run. And I hope to support the president in her vision of enlarging membership and also attracting more younger alumni into the association. Currently, so as a teacher, I have great leadership abilities. Before that, I was actually the secretary for the LU, for the Philadelphia chapter. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. I was the secretary for the Philadelphia chapter for about 3 years. Served on a few committees. Currently, I'm on the Philadelphia Constitution and Bylaws Committee. So I believe that I'm capable of leading if Sharice is ever not able to, and I hope to support her in her endeavors as president.
Thank you very much, Camille. We appreciate that. Let's bring Rita McCaskill, who is our current treasurer, who is running for re-election. We like to bring Rita to the floor. And let's spotlight Rita so that we can hear what her vision is and why she's seeking to be reelected to the position. Rita? I don't think she's on mute.
I think Rita might be having some technical difficulties.
Yes, I don't see her in the chat anymore.
Yeah, so I guess, let's see.
We'll just move on to the trustees.
Would it be possible to take her out of turn?
Yeah, we can do that and come back.
Okay.
Let me go back to the to my share. If you all bear with me.
Hello.
Rita?
Yes.
There we go. Okay, I'll let you take over and introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about your vision and why you're qualified to be reelected as treasurer.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rita McCaskill. I'm a member of the class of 1991. I have worked for federal government for the last 20 years, 17 of which were with the Department of the Army. I currently work for Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration as a budget analyst there as well. And I'm currently the treasurer for the AALU. I'm also a member of DC MAC. In addition to that, the reason why I'm hoping to accomplish
Vernon, you're on mute.
I'm gonna have to eventually I'm gonna have to move to another location in my home. But just to finish up, I just want to say that I feel that it's important that we have continuity of our finances so that we can move beyond the past.
All right. Thank you very much, Rita. And stay tuned. Get to a place where we can get a little better connection as we go through our. We're going to walk through our trustee candidates, and they're going to introduce themselves to you all. What we did prior to the meeting was we sent the trustees or the trustee candidates a list of items that we'd like them to cover. And specifically for the candidates for the Board of Trustees, we would like them to address what experience they have that makes them qualified to be on the Board of Trustees. We also like them to touch on what a specific goal they wish to reach as a board member and how they will reach that goal. How will they help LU raise money, which is paramount to the survival of an HBCU. We'd also like them to touch on how they will help to keep the alumni informed about what is transpiring on the board. And let's hear a little bit about what Lincoln means to you. So we're going to start with Michael Hancock, followed by James Bell, Dr. Rodney Ridley, and Dr. Will Leviste. And we'll finish up this segment with Steve Board. So candidate introductions, we'll start with Michael Hancock.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael J. Hancock, and I am a graduate of Lincoln University, class of 1988. And what qualifications do I bring to the board as a candidate? I have 33 years of financial service experience where I've done auditing, accounting, compliance, project management, and risk management. And during this time period, I have been in a number of executive positions as a director, a senior director, and serving well in that capacity. In addition to, in my community service involvement, I've been president of a number of organizations, treasurer, and also a board of director member, where I've done a number of fundraising efforts to increase the capital for those various organizations. Moving on to question number 3. And I believe question number 3 is talking about raising money for the Board of Trustees for Lincoln University. I would enact a number of fundraising efforts that would raise money for the organization, as well as corporate sponsorship and engaging with a number of companies close to Lincoln, where they would actually be able to engage in with the organization because being a part of the community, and also reaching out worldwide. Lincoln University is the first historically Black college and university to grant degrees, and there are a number of companies that would be willing to invest in us as an organization. Going to determine what I would like to see as a Board of Trustee member, I would like to further on enhancing the quality of our education. The current platform that we have has a number of aspects to it that the president would like to continue to learn, liberate, and lead. But I'd like for us to also invest in more of online education. I think in this world, in this time period, that we as a university could really further our online education experience, and we could attract a number of people to the organization if they were able to have an online college experience as well.
30 seconds.
And finally, what does university mean to me? It's a quality education being first. And secondary, it is building a foundation of family, because we really are family. And we're a family that reaches out to each other to build on our great legacy. And also, I'd like for us to think of Lincoln University as the legacy of leaders and achievement, because we all are great in our own right. Again, my name is Michael J. Hancock, and I am a candidate for the Board of Trustee position. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. We'll next bring up our candidate, James Bell. James, if you could address the same issues or touch on them as you introduce yourself to the audience. And I'd like to give you 3 minutes to answer a few questions. Again, what experience do you have? What goals do you wish to accomplish? How will you help LU raise money? How you will keep us as alumni informed, and what Lincoln means to you. James?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. The experience I have as a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, I've served on the board of directors for 7 years for New York Alumni chapter of our fraternity. And being a board member, I've realized that you build an organization from the back forward. And as I get further into conversations with various alums, I will explain that philosophy a little more into detail. Currently, I'm the president of Local 1788, which is the Greenberg Teachers Federation. And boy, you better know how to work across aisles with the different various parties that you're responsible for making sure that you take care of business. The goal I set for myself, if elected as trustee, is to increase our transparency. I think alumni need to be aware of the vision that we have for the institution. We also need to increase our governance in order so that we'll know how we operate and run our alumni association, how we run our institution, and also people can feel valued, that they have a say in what's going on. I plan to have an open door policy if elected to being a trustee. I don't believe in banker's hours. I don't think you can succeed in leadership position with having banker's time. As the president of my current union, I'm always on the phone. There's always something that I have to address. And I welcome that, because the responsibility is enormous for me being the president. So I don't have off days, raising money. I would like to increase our percentage of alumni who contribute. I think we need to have an adequate percentage of alumni giving, and then we can go out and try to foster corporate sponsorships. Not necessarily just giving us money, but providing pathways for success for our current students as they are matriculating into the real world. You know, corporate sponsors, you know, we don't want to ask someone to give something to our institution and then they ask, well, what are the people who love Lincoln are doing for Lincoln? And we say, well, we're at 10%, you know, so we have to work on that. And I think through transparency, we will get there. You know, I have initially started my own little fundraising called JB 1990 campaign.
30 seconds.
Where the goal is to continue to help students who are in financial need at Lincoln. Reaching out to the alumni and various chapters is very important. And with the open door policy, I think that's obtainable. And I think we should utilize Zoom in this current pandemic situation that everything is now on Zoom. So as a trustee, I should be able to make myself accessible to chapters, you know, in Harrisburg or Atlanta, New York, North Carolina, the greater chapter of North Carolina, I must, you know, include them as well. You know, and I think we should also think out the box with alumni and you know, and ask them to be an at-large member because we can utilize Zoom. You know, so now someone who's working in Mississippi can participate in the Atlanta chapter.
That's your time.
I don't know who's talking in the back, but.
Yeah, it's your time, James.
Oh,
yeah, that's 3
minutes.
minutes. Yeah, that's 3 minutes.
Okay.
So 10 seconds to conclude, please.
And what does Lincoln mean to me? Family. Family. You know, the ability to say, hey, I'm in Texas and my classmates meet and hang out with me for a little bit and we reminisce. Or my daughter who's a senior at at Livingstone College come up to Lincoln for a football game and I can call her Uncle Mike and he can get her a cheesesteak, you know, so it's family for me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate your input. Next, we're going to bring up Dr. Rodney Ridley. And Dr. Ridley is also running for the Board of Trustees. And we like to spotlight Dr. Ridley and find out what his experience is. It makes him qualified to be on the board. Again, what goals he wishes to achieve, and how he'll help LU raise money, and how he'll keep alumni informed, and what does Lincoln mean to you? So Dr. Ridley, the time is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rodney Ridley. I'm a 1987 graduate of Lincoln University, physics major, participant in the laser program. Did my graduate work at Penn State University, doing a master's and a PhD in engineering. I spent probably 15 plus years in industry doing semiconductor work and learned a lot about how industry works and how graduates should be prepared for industry. Also in those roles, I spent a lot of time working with universities and looking at things like internships, direct funded projects, and how to get money from industry into universities. In 2009, I switched careers. I started working. I worked for Wilkes University. I was the department chair of engineering there for a number of years. Helped to grow enrollment more than 50%. And I also started working with the entrepreneurship program. So in my days in industry, I had a number of startups that I started and ran. So I had a strong entrepreneurship experience. And when I went to academia, one of the things that I learned was how to make academia more friendly to industry, to raise money, to have more effective partnerships and the like. And began to build a model of how to successfully build, run, and transform regional institutions of higher education like Lincoln. My current role is I'm a vice president, the associate provost, and the chief operating officer at Alumni University. In this role, we are one of the things that I'm doing, and it talks about raising money here, I'm actually responsible for raising close to $50 million for Alumni University in its roles to stabilize itself. I also just started an engineering program and a number of other programs. So my goal as a trustee is I have extensive experience at transforming universities. And one of my fellow alum asked me, why are you doing it for everybody else and not for your alma mater? Which was a very good question to me. And it sparked me to say, it's time for me to come home and give back. So that's my goal, is to come home and give back. What I've been doing for others, I should be doing for Lincoln. And so
You have 30 seconds.
How will I get across to communication? That through newsletters, through e-newsletters, speaking at alumni chapter events and at meetings. And what does Lincoln mean to me? Lincoln means home, and Lincoln means foundation. And I'm hoping to come home and build a foundation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ridley. Our next candidate is Dr. Will Leveist. And Dr. Will Leveist, we would like you to address our audience, fellow alumni, on what your experience is and how you're qualified to be on the board. Again, what goals you wish to reach when you reach, if you're elected to the board, and how you'll help Lincoln raise money. And, you know, from a communication standpoint, we like to know how you would like to keep, or how you intend to keep the alumni informed as to what's transpiring on the board, and what does Lincoln mean to you. So thank you and welcome, and the time is yours.
Great, thank you, Vernon, and thank you, the entire committee and all alumni. It's an honor to have an opportunity to be able to share with you. As what was said, my name is Will Leveist, class of 1988. I was a journalism major. Back then, we just had small journalism school, not the big communication school that we have. And that journalism school launched me onto a 20+ year in journalism at places such as the Arizona Republic, Chicago Tribune. I was the first Black columnist at Tribune's Daily Press down in Newport News, Virginia. So this young man coming out of a small college in Pennsylvania became the first Black columnist and moved around the country to many major newspapers. I'm now a senior executive at a nonprofit and also chief communications officer. And part of that experience has me interacting a lot with boards. I've also served on the boards. When I was in Hampton, I was at the Hampton Roads, Urban League of Hampton Roads. I served on the board there. I'm also a lifetime member of AALU, one of the initial members of the Coastal Virginia chapter, which I still hold my membership, even though I've moved around the country. And I'm also an educator. I've taught at several institutions, Northwestern, Hampton. I've taught at as I teach right now, at the University of Maryland Global Campus, where I teach online. So online and distance learning is something that's not foreign to me at all. I've actually was certified to teach online beginning in the early 2000s. And my career very much in journalism has been online. So that kind of background, that kind of experience, I would absolutely want to bring to Lincoln as a communicator, and also someone who's working in the area of fundraising, what I do now, leading the advancement division for the agency that I work for, which goes to goals. 3 main goals. One is that we need to eliminate unforced errors. One of the things that happened this past summer, the fiasco that happened with the president, that was an unforced error that had a lot of negative impact on the brand of Lincoln University. So one of the things we want to do is, not as someone that plays sports all my life, you don't want to, the team that makes the most errors is never usually the team that wins the championship. So we need to eliminate unforced errors. We need to improve LU's brand. I'm sure as many of you are tired of seeing other HBCUs get positive press, get funding. We've been blessed to be able to receive recent funding
30 seconds.
that came across, but we need to have LU's brand and legacy in people's names, as well as other HBCUs. And the other would be improve Lincoln's giving. If 100% of the members of the board are not giving now, they should be giving at 100%, as well as alumni, as one of the candidates has said, should be giving. should be given consistently. So our giving needs to be improving. As far as alumni being informed, I think you've
10
seen
seconds.
recently the Roar magazine, the e-zine was recently launched. And so we will use that to be able to keep alumni informed, as well as being open to regular Zoom meetings where we be able to talk directly to alumni. And what does Lincoln mean to me? Lincoln means to me story. Lincoln is a significant part of my life story. And as I mentioned, it's at Lincoln that I found my calling as a journalist. That's where I discovered that that's what I was supposed to do. And so I want to see that other students have that opportunity to discover their calling at our alma mater. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Will. We appreciate your introduction. Our final candidate for the Board of Trustees that we would like to introduce is Steve Board. Steve, we'd like you to take 3 minutes to let us know what experiences you have that qualify you for the Board of Trustees. Like to talk about, or I'd like you to touch on some of your goals, how you'll help Lincoln raise money, and how you'll keep the alumni informed about what's going on the board. And finally, what does Lincoln mean to you? So the time is yours, Steve.
Thank you. Greetings, Lincoln University alumni. Again, my name is Stephen Board. I'm a member of the class of 1981. I'm a highly accomplished, dynamic marketing guru with extensive relationship and a successful track record of organizational efficiency, productivity, improvements, and fund development. I have a proven track record as both a corporate and nonprofit management professional. Throughout my career, I have raised over $83 million in corporate sponsorships and donations, developed innovative brand building campaigns, launched international brands, and managed profit and loss for major corporations. I currently serve as the chairman of the mentoring committee and chief financial officer for the United Black Men of Queens Foundation, Inc. I am the founder and president of It's All About the Kids Foundation, Inc., a consultant for the New York City Board of Education, the New York City Housing Authority, the NYPD Community Affairs Bureau Youth Strategy Division, and other community-based organizations with a focus on governance. My goal as a board member is to bring more corporate sponsorships and student internships to Lincoln University. This will be accomplished by working with alumni and students to create an integrated marketing campaign that will become a blueprint and pathway to success, providing a win-win for all stakeholders. Through my leadership, we will be proactive when it comes to identifying financial opportunities, which is something I have successfully achieved throughout my career. Maintaining communications with the alumni is paramount. I propose the establishment of an alumni-targeted podcast as a vehicle designed to keep everyone informed, to highlight board accomplishments, to discuss tough issues, to hear alumni concerns, and to ensure transparency. What does Lincoln mean to me? Lincoln means a lifetime of giving back. As an AALU Life member, as a member of the Lincoln Society, and as president of the AALU New York Metro chapter, it means leading the charge of the New York Metro chapter in hosting annual Black Tie fundraising galas, in launching a $100,000 endowment, in recruiting the largest out-of-state incoming freshman class in 2020, in delivering care packages to New York Metro freshmen, in leading suit drives for Lincoln seniors, and in donating money to the SGA to defer cost of buses for New York Metro students returning home. It's supporting Lincoln students in finding paid internships, in securing corporate sponsorship for the New York Metro chapter, and in being invited to participate in the Middle States Review Board meeting for the accreditation of Lincoln, as well as attending the strategic planning process. Your
30
vote,
seconds.
Your vote for me as the next LU alumni trustee is change that I hope that you would like to make. Hail, hail, Lincoln.
Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Our next segment is a question and answer whereby the alumni have asked specific questions of each candidate, and we'd like you to touch on those particular topics that are being asked, and you have 2 minutes to respond. Our first question is going to candidate for president, Sharice Carney Nunez. And Sharice, the alumni would like to know what will your official and unofficial role be in the Lions for Change? Do you see holding a position in a leadership role in both organizations, official or unofficial? Do you consider those a conflict of interest? You
So
have 2
thank
minutes.
you. Okay, thank you so much for that question. I actually don't see any daylight between really the mission of the AALU, the mission of Lincoln University, Lions for Change. We are all working for the same thing. Our missions are inextricably interconnected. Our mission in the AALU is to enable Lincoln University to meet its mission. Now we have some other words and core values and all of that, but our mission and all of that is the same. So I'm running to be the president of the AALU, and I'm running with a forward facing, looking to the future. And our missions are, there's just, I don't see any daylight in between that. That being said, I do think that there's always work to be done when it comes to ensuring that our core values are all aligned and appropriately communicated. And so for me, I came at this and when I did my introduction, I talked about my core values, my personal core values. When I became the president of the DC Metro chapter, the very first thing we did, and I have many members on this Zoom who can verify, the very first thing we did was we held a retreat. We got ourselves in line on what our core values were: trust, transparency, excellence, fun, and love. So I think that there's definitely work to be done to ensure that all members of all different aspects of the Lincoln community are working together. But when we're working together in an alignment and know what our core values are, then I don't see any daylight at all between those missions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sharice.
Okay.
Our next question is being directed to our candidate for vice president, Camille Clybourne. Camille,
Okay.
how would you like to see the role of the vice president expand? And how will you strengthen and grow chapters within the AALU?
Yeah.
So if you could take 2 minutes to address how you like to see your role as vice president expand and how you will strengthen and grow the chapters within the AALU as part of your responsibilities.
Yes.
Time is
So,
yours.
I would like to see the role of vice president. Well, first of all, I do see the role of vice president as a position that you support the president, right? So that's the main mission. But I would like to see the role take a more, have like more leadership in the sense that you oversee committees. So I know that we are working on getting regional directors in different regions to attract more members. So certainly we have members that are concentrated in New York, Philadelphia, and Maryland, but we have alumni that are all over. So we are working to have like regional directors to gather, to start chapters and have alumni participation that way.
I appreciate your answer, Camille.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Hey, before I bring our candidate for treasurer, Rita McCaskill, up, I would just like to ask everyone, if you're not speaking, please mute your line, because we don't want to interrupt the candidate as they're speaking and delivering their message. We want to be very courteous and cognizant of that as we're in this electronic environment. We can hear the background, and so if you're not speaking, if you could just put yourself on mute. Thank you very much. So our next candidate for directed question is Rita McCaskill. And Rita, please discuss your intended role in providing transparency of AALU finances and reporting to the membership. To go with that question, we'd like to know, why should alums trust you or the AALU with their finances and resources? You have 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, during this current administration, we have taken a lot of strides to put new processes in place to ensure that the funds are actually being handled properly. All the treasurer's reports are literally reviewed and approved by our auditing committee. And as far as trusting me, let me put it to you this way. I understood what happened in the past, and I don't ever want to see that happen again. So therefore, I am always open and willing to provide bank statements, treasurer reports, if anyone wants to see them. And I guess I should say that given my current role working for the federal government, I've handled billions of dollars for the last 21 years. And that is also with knowing all the different rules and the regulations that are necessary and required to ensure that the finances are executed properly and providing budget reports all the time. So I figure if I can do it for the federal government for 21 plus years, why not use my talents to work for my alma mater as well?
Thank you very much, Rita. Our next directed question will be a question to our Board of Trustee candidate, Stephen Board. Steve, do you support a reduction in the size of the Board of Trustees? If so, what class of trustee would you reduce? If not, why is the board size optimal as it is right now?
Well, from the outside looking in, I'm going to initially say that I support status quo. I believe as long as the participants of the board bring their individual attributes and they're able to support the current goal and everybody's in line with what they have to do, I see no reason for change. Change would only be required if people aren't doing their job.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate your comments and answering that question. Our next question is directed to Dr. Will Leveist. Dr. Leveist, please explain your relationship with your local chapter and how will you keep your chapter and all AALU members informed? If you could just expound on that for 2 minutes. Thank you.
Well, like I said earlier, I mean, I'm one of the initial members of the Coastal Virginia chapter. I now live in between Philadelphia and Maryland, and have lived in between there. I've also lived in Indiana, so I've moved around a lot. So what I would do is maintain a relationship by making myself available, as I mentioned earlier, to do regular Zoom calls, attending meetings as I'm able to attend the meetings, and continue to use the vehicles that we've begun and actually been involved in creating under the current president, Dawn. We developed the Aurora e-newsletter, bringing back the e-newsletters or newsletters that alumni have had in the past. And so using that as a vehicle to communicate and to be available for engagement. As I said, my skill set is a communicator, so I recognize how important it is to communicate and to have open channels, because when you don't communicate, then you leave it open for people to fill in the blanks themselves. And when you look at the breadth and length and number of alumni that we have, that's a whole lot of blanks of people filling in themselves. So you have to control your own story and communicate directly what you want people to know and understand.
Thank you very much, Dr. Leveist. Our next question is for Dr. Rodney Ridley. And as a candidate for the Board of Trustees, alumni have asked the following question. We understand that you live a few miles beyond the geographic boundaries of a local AALU chapter, and there's no local chapter in your area. We'd like you to please describe your relationship with AALU members and local chapters, and how will you keep them informed if you're elected to the Board of Trustees?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, I am a little bit beyond the range of most of the established chapters. And given in the current environment we're in, I'm actually a life member of AALU and also a member of the finance committee on AALU. And given we can communicate over Zoom and these other things, I've started becoming much more engaged with the alumni in that format. I think the way it's obvious that we can communication is much easier now over social media and other things. So I think that'll be done. I think my commitment though is that to Lincoln itself and to make sure that we are able to transform Lincoln into what it should be, to grow it back and regain its tremendous history, it is obviously from the looks of all the candidates here, Lincoln does a good job in education, and we want to continue that mission. And I think my specific background in higher education and running higher education institutions, I think I could be a tremendous help, not only to the alum, but to the administration, because I am one of them. So I can easily talk to them and help them to navigate the waters, which higher education is a tough business these days. And I think I've been able to figure out how, along with my colleagues, figure out how to make universities better in this tough environment. So my commitment would be to present at various things and to make myself available to show up at chapter meetings and those kind of things. But I think it's also making myself available to the administration. I think is also important. So that's how I would approach things.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your answer, Dr. Ridley. Our next question goes to Board of Trustee candidate James Bell. James, the national bylaws require that you must be a member of a local chapter in order to run for election. You have a legal residence in New York, within the New York metro area chapter, and in South Carolina with the Greater Carolinas chapter. Are you a member of either chapter? If not, why are you not a member?
Fair question. I commute back and forth between New York and South Carolina, but currently I'm a member of the Greater Carolina chapter. Being in New York, it isn't convenient. They have their meetings during the week, and it's extremely difficult working in Westchester getting into the city. But in the past, have supported the New York chapter in events that they've done in the evenings and supported them, as well as I support the Greater Carolina chapter prior to being financial within the chapter.
All right. Thank you very much for your answer. Our last specific question to our candidates is to Michael Hancock, candidate for Board of Trustees. Michael, what are your specific plans and strategies for helping to mend fences on the board with the office of the university president?
Great question. I think most importantly is to begin a great dialogue between the president and the existing board to ensure that we have open communication. We actually look at the plans of the university and that the board support them in an oversight environment. It's most important that we're not butting heads, but we are forging forward in a greater path. And so communication is the most important, to come up with a plan of execution around the various activities that the president chooses to lead in her charge, and let the president be the president of the university. The Middle States clearly identified the role of the president and the role of the board, and the board's role is to be oversight. So we've got to work together to be a great university.
Michael, thank you very much. We like to now change focus in terms of going from the specific questions to general questions. First, for the executive officers. This question is being directed to the candidate for president, Sharice Carney Nunez. Sharice, how do you plan to increase alumni membership within your 2-year term?
I'm glad you asked. Well, first of all, my one big goal, I call it the moonshot, is to do just that. And so I think that the first thing that you do when you're trying to reach a goal is you define it, you lay it out, you get everyone moving in that same direction. You bring all forces to bear on that. So I think the very first thing that you have to do is what I have done, and you can see in my background. You can see in my background, I'm sorry, I covered up my face. You can see in my background that I have defined it, and that's 25% of living alums by 2023, which is the end of my term. I say that because I don't know that we've ever we've always had some challenges in knowing what the total numbers were, but I know that we have about 9,000 living alums. We have about 700 members. And so we do have to ask ourselves, who are we representing if we only have maybe 7% or so of our living alums? So what I would do would be kind of a 3-part thing. One, is again, attention to those core values, increasing trust, transparency, organizational excellence. That's what we did in DC. Once people started to see that organizational excellence, we've been doing virtual meetings before the pandemic in DC, they start to come. And then also with my able vice president, we will be focusing on generational diversity because that is our future. And then also geographic diversity. So expansion of chapters, attention to expansion of chapters. So those would be the things that I would do. And in terms of that general diversity, meeting generational diversity, which is also kind of always elusive, I think that what we have to do is we have to meet people where they are. So we utilize Zoom, we go to the places and spaces where the young alumni are. We just, again, put everyone working in the same direction with this intense focus on that one thing to dramatically increase our membership.
Thank you, Sharice. Camille Claiborne is running for vice president. Camille, we'd like you to address the same question. What are some of your specific plans to increase alumni membership within your 2-year term?
Yes, so it's actually Claiborne, just because it keeps happening. But yes, so I would like us to increase our membership. So just speaking to some of the younger alum, well, we are going to reach out to alum via social media and make some of our social media platforms more usable and accessible to younger alum. But speaking to younger alum, we want to try to address some of the things that they're looking for, right? Which is mentorship, and job opportunities. And I think that if we have these things to entice younger alums to join, I think that they will join. So some of them are even asking for positions on the board of trustees. So I think that we are setting out to address some of their wants and needs. And I think that will attract our membership. Certainly I'm supporting Sharice and all that she's doing, right? So we are also reaching out to different regions. We're in the South now, tech places, of course, Texas. We're in various areas now. And so, but we also are trying to start up a mentor program that I know will attract younger alum.
Thank you, Ms. Claiborne.
Here we go. Thank you, Hearn.
I appreciate your comments and in support of the president and your vision on increasing membership. I'd like to give that same question to our treasurer candidate, Rita McCaskill. Rita, if you could touch on how do you plan to help your executive office increase membership within the 2-year term that you're running for? You're on mute. There you go.
I actually intend to support the incoming administration by ensuring that the finances are accurately accounted for, as well as provide accurate reporting, and also to ensure that anyone who is looking to assist with the growth of the organization, I'll make myself available for that. Because what I have learned in this last year and a half is that being the treasurer is not just counting the numbers. It's also reaching back out to people when they have inquiries, whether it be 11 at night or 8 a.m. first thing in the morning. I try to make it my business to ensure that I respond back to alumni so that way they know that they are being heard.
Thank you very much, Rita. Our next question is going to be directed at it's a general question for the Board of Trustee candidates. We'll start with Dr. Rodney Ridley, then followed by Michael Hancock, Dr. Will Levis, Stephen Board, and then James Bell. The question that was posed by the alumni is, what responsibility do you believe an alumni trustee should have in contributing financially to Lincoln University? In what ways have you supported Lincoln University, and what is your giving record?
Excellent questions. So take them sort of backwards here. I am a life member of Lincoln University. Recently started giving back through the life membership. I think alumni trustees have a great responsibility in not necessarily just giving, but helping to raise money at Lincoln and garner resources. I think where my strength will lie in is that I do this every day for a living. So I think there's several areas. Most people focus on philanthropy when they start talking about alumni trustee giving and the like. And many members of the trustee board aren't going to have the resources to give in a significant way philanthropically. But there are other methods that can garner much more resources if you know how to do it. One is grants. The other thing is industry partnerships. And the last thing is growing our enrollment. And so through grants, I have significant relationships because of my position with both state and federal leaders, and state and federal dollars are tremendous as long as you're positioned correctly to receive them. So we need to position the university correctly to receive them. Same goes for industry, and same goes for enrollment. We need to make sure that we are positioning ourselves to give students something to say yes to. And as an academic administrative leader, I kind of know how those things work. So my goal will be to help the current administration, including the president and her executive staff, to share some of the learning and understanding I have to help position Lincoln like I position other universities to receive tremendous amounts of resources, not just what comes out of my pocket.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ridley. Our next candidate that I'd like to have address the same question is Michael Hancock. Michael, what responsibility do you believe an alumni trustee should have in contributing financially to Lincoln? What ways have you supported Lincoln University, and what is your giving record?
Great question. So I believe that every alumni trustee should have a fiduciary responsibility to contribute to Lincoln University. There needs to be an established dollar amount that you can either give the money yourself or raise the money through corporate sponsorships or grant writing, and make sure that it's done annually. Secondary, I personally give to Lincoln University annually. I am a consistent giver back to the university. And then third, I am a life member of the AALU. And then I think that it's most important that fundraising actually occurs for alumni trustees. I believe I've answered all three parts of the question.
Indeed. Our next candidate that I'd like to address the same question is Dr. Will Levis. Dr. Levis, what responsibility do you believe an alumni trustee should have in contributing financially to Lincoln? What ways have you supported Lincoln University, and what is your giving record?
Well, as I said earlier, I think alumni trustees should be giving at 100%. All of the trustees should be giving. No one should be able to tell you, what that amount is. You have to determine that yourself, but you should be giving something. You should be giving of your time, talent, your treasure, without a doubt. I mentioned earlier also, I'm a lifetime member. I believe I've been a lifetime since 2015. And I've been a consistent giver, I think, since the early 2000s. I graduated in '88. When you're on the board, I mean, you should be giving. And I think that also those who are not on the board, alumni, should be giving something, again, at rates of approaching 100%. You have to determine what you should give. One of the things that myself and some of the other brothers of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, we recently established an endowment, $100,000 in Nkrumah Ezekiel endowment at Lincoln to support students to study abroad in Africa. I mean, Lincoln is, from its beginnings, has had a connection with Africa. And so this is in honor of our celebration of our 100-year, our centennial on the campus in 2022. So we've been trying to galvanize our brothers to give, to be functional alumni, to give to the university, to join AALU, to join graduate chapters, to be functional, because once you graduate, you should be giving back so that other students could enjoy and have the same kind of experience, life-changing experience that you had when you were on the yard. So absolutely, you should be given at 100%.
Thank you very much. I'd like our next candidate, Steve Board, to address the same questions. Again, what responsibility do you believe an alumni trustee should have in contributing financially to Lincoln? What ways have you supported Lincoln University, and what is your giving record?
Well, start off with saying that I definitely believe, as a nonprofit consultant, one of the major roles or responsibilities of a board member is to raise money for that organization. So I definitely believe that that all trustee members should be giving. As I stated earlier, I'm a member of the Lincoln Society. You don't become a member without giving at a certain level. So I've been doing that on a regular basis. And I actually believe in some cases that should almost be a criteria. If you're a member of Lincoln and you're an alumni, if you're not a member of the Lincoln Society, maybe you're not giving enough. Maybe you're not reaching deep enough. But also to echo what Michael Hancock said, it's about give, get. So if you're not giving, you should be able to get it in terms of raising money. What I've been doing as the president of the New York Metro chapter, we established an annual fundraising gala. That gala, every year we write a decent check. In addition, I also give my own, and literally we just wrote a check yesterday or the other day for $5,000. I laugh, I just sold $2,000 worth of popcorn. But all of those things, no job is too big or too small to make that happen. I also have strategic relationships with a number of corporate sponsorships, such as Hennessy, such as Belvedere, such as the New York Postal System, which I've brought to the table to also help underwrite and make substantial donations to Lincoln University through sponsorships so that we can continue this. And that's something that I will continue to do, is leveraging my relationships. Right now, the NBA has been big on doing things. Right now, All-Star.
30 seconds.
I actually have the deputy commissioner of the NBA, Mark Tatum, as a friend. So of course, if I'm trustee, I'm going to knock at that door and see how we can bring the NBA to do a little bit more for Lincoln University.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you.
Our last candidate that will address this general question is James Bell. James, what responsibility do you believe an alumni trustee should have in contributing financially to Lincoln University? What ways have you supported Lincoln, and what is your giving record?
Thank you. Good question. I mentioned earlier about building back to front, and the trustees are the back. So we all have different roles and different responsibility as trustees once we're elected, but everything isn't always about just materialistic money given to the school. I've created a fundraiser called the JB 1990 campaign, because I've been listening to Dr. Allen. She talked about every $1,000 you raise, it help keeps a student. So I started that last year, and due to the pandemic, we're not having an event this year at our home, but I sponsor students. In the past fall, they had the initiative for the Cubs. I sponsored between 5 and 10 students with the gift cards. I give on the Giving Tuesdays. At all point, I've been giving at Lincoln since I've graduated, from the time I used to meet at Mr. Bailey's house, freshly out of college. But I became more in tune with giving over the last several years to Lincoln, because the timing is right for me financially. The timing is right in terms of freedom and my ability to make more of a difference. And I can hammer down a little harder now and lift up our institution that has put me in a great position that I am in at this time. So if the board understands that our responsibility is to work in the back to build forward our institution, then we can succeed.
30 seconds.
I just don't want our institution to look like it's all about money and corporate giving. First, we need to work from within and get our percentage up. We need to reach the goal, as the president stated, of 25% of participation, but we need to get higher than that. But it's a process. So it's a vital and a key role to the success of our beloved Lincoln.
Thank you very much, James. Our next question is directed at our presidential candidate, Sharice Carney Nunez. Sharice, please share your communication strategy for the Council of the AALU and for the alumni.
The Council of the AALU and the alumni. I would continue to do really what I have been doing. I think I have a demonstrated track record through my chapter, in that we have a very strong communication strategy. Everything is, again, driven by that core value of transparency. So it's all open. We send open messages every time we have a meeting. Everything's on a Google Drive that's open for everyone to see. Minutes, financial reports. When we can't do a financial report for whatever reason, we have the bank statements there and available. I send personal messages. My phone number is out there. I send text messages. So I would continue the same with the AALU Council, as well as the members. I would continue to build with the newsletter, all of the same kinds of strategies that you see that the current administration is putting into place. Also, I'm so happy to have the opportunity to leverage the new membership platform that will be able to be introduced soon to the AALU membership. It's going to give us an awesome opportunity to be able to realize this singular goal of engaging up to 25% of our living members by the end of 2023. So I'll just continue to leverage those tools, to use those strategies, and to reach alums wherever I can. So
30 seconds.
That's what I'd say. No, that I'm done.
Thank you very much, Sharice. Our next question is for our vice president candidate, Camille Claiborne. Camille, how has your local and national AALU involvement prepared you for serving as vice president?
Okay, so on the local level, I have served as secretary for the Philadelphia chapter for about 3 years, and been on the hospitality committee and the Constitution and Bylaws committee for the Philadelphia chapter. So I think that has prepared me for this position in the sense that I am able to work on a team and team build. And I think Philadelphia is, I believe, the oldest chapter. So I'm able to take some of the things that we have implemented in the Philadelphia chapter and put that with the alumni. So with the national alumni. So some of the strategies or things that I see working within my own chapter, I'm able to parlay that into the national chapter.
Thank you very much, Camille. This next question is directed at our treasurer candidate, Rita McCaskill. Rita, what challenges have you experienced as the treasurer over the past 2 years? And how will you address those challenges during your second term?
Well, I know one particular challenge that we did have, where a seasoned alum thought he was paying for his annual membership. However, he inadvertently paid for a lifetime membership, and he got so frustrated about the situation. He was speaking with his daughter about it, and she reached out to me. And her and I, we talked, actually her, I, and the current president, Dawn, we had a really nice, good conversation over the phone to resolve his matter, because he initially only intended to do annual versus lifetime. And at that point, we obtained his current updated information to make sure that he, he's in the know of anything that's going on with the association, because he recently moved from Maryland to Chicago with his daughter. Was glad that we were able to resolve that matter, because his daughter said that he was really upset and frustrated by what had happened, but they also appreciated how quickly we responded and rectified the situation for him.
Thank you very much.
And that
Rita.
was the. You're welcome.
Were you finished? I'm sorry.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure I did answer the question.
You did. Okay. I want to thank all the candidates for giving us your time and your opinions and answering the questions that have been presented before you. As I mentioned earlier, if any of the listeners or people in the audience who are listening to this forum would like to ask additional questions, please address them to the Nominations and Elections Committee. I'll have that email address up in a second as far as where you can ask additional questions, and we'll present them to the candidates for them to respond to you via a Google document so that you can see what the answers are, and we'll have those posted and sent out to the membership. The closing statements today, we're going to reverse the order that we were in the beginning. We're going to have the Board of Trustee candidates give their closing statements. Each will have 1 minute to present a closing statement. We'll start with Steve Board, followed by Dr. Will Leveist, then Dr. Rodney Ridley, James Bell, and then Michael Hancock. Once the candidate is finished, I will introduce the next candidate. So first, giving their closing statements to the body of AALU is Stephen Board.
Thank you. Dear alumni, I am grateful for the opportunity to discuss my candidacy and share my qualifications to be a Lincoln University alumni trustee. I am well aware of the challenges ahead and the responsibilities of the position. I believe my entrepreneurial spirit, along with my strategic marketing, brand building, and fundraising skills are 4 of my greatest strengths. Throughout my career, I have raised over $83 million, developed innovative brand building campaigns for major corporations and nonprofits, managed and consulted for many community-based organizations with a focus on governance, and worked tirelessly to grow and elevate the AALU New York Metro chapter while supporting the students of Lincoln University. I am uniquely qualified to execute the responsibilities of the position. Your vote for me as the next LU alumni trustee is the change Lincoln needs and the voice Lincoln deserves. More info and details about my track record
10 seconds.
Go to www.stephenaboard.com. Hail, hail, Lincoln.
Thank you, Steve. Our next candidate who will give closing statements for candidacy for the Board of Trustees is Dr. Will Leveist.
Thanks again, Vernon, and the entire committee. Again, and thanks to all alumni. As I think about this blessed opportunity, I think that we got basically three types of alumni. There are some graduated from Lincoln, really don't have that pride, really don't care about Lincoln, don't mention it much. And then there's others who have that passion for Lincoln and will come with a lot of noise, but not necessarily get things done. And then there's a third alumni that has that passion for Lincoln and also understands that passion plus purpose and strategy actually equals power. And that's what happened over the summer. You know, alumni got passionate, put together a strategy, and actually implemented something that led to power, led to results. And so if you want someone who's going to be on the board, who's going to be about actually getting results and actually getting something done, then I'm your guy and I'll be glad to serve.
Vernon, you're on mute.
Vernon, you're on mute.
They try not to rattle the papers for you all. So our next candidate for Board of Trustees is Dr. Rodney Ridley. Dr. Ridley, if you could give your closing statements.
Thank you, everyone. As a son of Lincoln, and that benefited greatly from a Lincoln education and parlayed it into a good career, which has led me to a career in higher education. I've had the opportunity to see institutions of higher education transform tremendously. And I always have that question ringing in my head from a fellow alum that asked me, why are you doing it for everybody else and not for your alma mater? So I'm asking you to give me the opportunity to do what I've done for other institutions, to bring that energy, information, knowledge, and passion to help transform Lincoln. So I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ridley. Next candidate for our Board of Trustees is James Bell. James, if you could give us your closing statements.
Thank you, Chairman. I didn't mention that I am a AALU subscribing member. I think I'm almost a life member, but we'll find out soon now that Rita's getting reelected financially in charge of books. In closing today, I ask for your support to continue serving you, the alumni, the administration, the faculty and staff, as well as the current and future students of this great institution we call Lincoln University. Elect James L. Bell, class of 1990, go orange and blue. Thank you.
Thank you, James. And finally, trustee candidate Michael Hancock, if you could deliver your closing statements.
The role of the alumni trustee is a most important role. It fulfills a desire to be a key stakeholder for our beloved Lincoln University. I, Michael J. Hancock, possess proven leadership, active and engagement, living the legacy and fostering the future for the Board of Trustees. Elect Michael J. Hancock, transparency, integrity, dedication, and execution for Lincoln University.
Thank you very much, Michael. Our AALU executive officers, I would like to give them an opportunity to present their 1-minute closing statements to the body. And we'll start with our treasurer candidate, Rita McCaskill.
Okay. I too am a lifetime member as of 2017. And although I am already doing the work and have spent the last year working to rebuild trust in the organization financially in order for alums to join with confidence, I'm actually asking for you to vote for me again as your treasurer, because not only will I continue that process, but I will also actively look to groom and my successor in 2023.
Thank you very much, Rita. our next candidate for Vice President, Camille Claiborne. If you could give us your closing statement.
Okay, so I am Camille Claiborne. I'm running for the position of Vice President. So currently I am running unopposed. I think we all are. So I just want to say that I am excited to serve in the position of Vice President, and I look forward to serving you all as alumni and advancing the Alumni Association and an extension advancing the university. Certainly, I hope that we are able to grow alumni participation and membership. Because my hope is that there will be 3 or 4 candidates running for each position going forward. And literally, when I decided to run, it was because the position was open. And I thought we couldn't have this position not filled. So I hope that we are able to extend our membership and alumni participation. And in the future, we'll see these positions with 3 or 4 candidates vying for the position of president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. So thank you.
Thank you, Camille. And finally, we'd like to have our closing statement by our candidate for president, Sharice Carney-Nunez.
Thank you. So all of the specifics that we have heard here today have one thing in common. They must be powered by a broad and diverse group of alums for success. So what would it mean if we had 2,250 members? What would it mean to our ability to support students? How would it help us raise money? How would it help us forge these corporate or higher education partnerships? What would it mean to our ability to provide mentors and sponsors for alums' professional development? What would it mean for broadening the pool of amazing alumni trustee candidates? What would it mean for our ability to strengthen our alumni base? What would it mean for Lincoln? So I know that Camille, Rita, and I are running unopposed, but it still does matter that we approach this with strategic vision. Is building AALU membership from 700 to 2250 a moonshot? Yes, it is. Can we do it? Yes, we can. So I thank you, and I ask that you join us by supporting our vision.
Thank you very much, Sharice. And I'd like to thank all of the candidates for their time and their visions. The Board of Trustees, the election is May 1st. You'll get a chance to vote for 2 trustees. The executive officers, same day, same election. You'll get an opportunity to endorse our executive officers as they take their positions as leadership of National AALU. A little bit about the election timeline, and I want to share this with everyone, and we'll be sending this out via email and posting it on all of our social media platforms. Again, this platform or the timeline was approved on February 18th by the Council of Lincoln University. Our candidates forum is completing today. There will be an election edition of the Roar magazine released by March 15th. Final dues payments can be made by March 21st. That's an important deadline for those who are not financial yet with the Alumni Association. If you're a lifetime member, you're covered. If you're subscribing lifetime member, you're covered. However, if you're an annual member, you need to pay your dues by March 21st. Now that dues can be paid directly to AALU or through one of your local chapters. The election committee will receive the list of eligible voters on March 28th, and paper ballots will be mailed out on April 2nd. April 3rd, the electronic balloting opens. You have an option to vote via paper or electronic. Given the state of the Postal Service today, we encourage everyone to select the electronic option. However, if you would like a paper ballot, it will be mailed on April 2nd. On April 26th, the mail-in ballot deadline, that's the last day that you should probably mail in your ballot so that we receive it by the last day of mail pickup, which is April 30th. Election balloting closes for the electronic balloting closes on May 1st at noon. Walk-in balloting That deadline closes at the same time on May 1st. We will announce what the location will be for the counting of the ballots. So if you wanted to mail that in or walk that in, you'd be able to do that until noon of May 1st. The ballots will be counted at 12:30 p.m. on May 1st. One witness will be allowed for each candidate. We'll announce the winner via Zoom meeting at 6 p.m. on May 1st, 2021. And our final duty as a elections committee is to send a letter to the AALU president and the executive secretary announcing the nominee or the nominees, the two that will be submitted to the Board of Trustees for consideration to serve on the board. And we've set a deadline at May 9th to have that completed by. So as I mentioned earlier, dues payment deadline, very important, March 21st, 2021. You can renew online at aalupa.org/join-or-renew or through your local chapter. And the election will be held on May 1st. If anyone has any questions that they would like answered, feel free to please email those to our nominations and elections committee at aalupa@gmail.com. Thank you very much for your time, your consideration. Hail, hail, Lincoln.
Great job, Mr. Davis.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Vernon, very great.
Great
Awesome.
job.
Thanks, Fern.
Thank you so much for all of the hard work of the
Thank you.
Nominations and Elections Committee.
We've got a great committee.
Good job, nominations committee.
Good job.
Good job,
everyone.
candidates.
luck
Good
to all
job,
of the
great job,
candidates.
great
Good
job.
luck, everybody.
Good job.
Good luck, everybody.
It was
Good
a
job,
great
guys.
job.
done.
Great
I
job,
enjoyed the whole
everyone.
thing. Very well.
I
done.
know.
I was
That
impressed.
was like the best
Awesome.
ever.
Good job.
Love
Very
it.
professional,
Really good.
very professional.
Yeah.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent, excellent, excellent. Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
love
Thank
it,
you.
love it, love it, love it.
It's good.
And thanks
Outstanding,
for showing up.
outstanding.
Good job, Vernon.
Good
Thank you,
job.
everybody.
Hey, Sandy.
Good job, Vernon.
Hey, Karen Mac.
Nice to see everyone.
Yes, good to see everyone.
Hi, Karen.
April, Barbara.
Hey, hey,
Brother
hey,
B.
hey.
Hey,
Brother
Karen.
Mac, Brother Mac, Macadocious.
Karen.
Oh, Miss
Hey.
Caskill, how you doing? Good to
Hi,
see you.
Andrea.
I'm good, and you, Mr. Barber?
Thank you.
Hey,
What's
She
up,
could
Mike?
be
Mr. Hancock,
Danny.
Mr. Groves, Brother Groves.
How are you, sir?
I'm well.
I'm good. Good to see
Hi,
you.
Good to see
Adrian.
you.
Hey, JB.
All right, all right.
What's up, Mr. Barber?
Hey, Crystal.
Hello, Brother Bell. How are you?
I'm good.
Hey,
Yes,
Glow.
you are. Good to see you.
Yes.
Good to see
Hey,
you.
Brother
JB.
Bell.
Hey, KG.
Yes.
Hey,
Matt,
Hey,
Say
Kid.
hi to your wife.
what's up?
I think
What's up, Karen and Mr. Mac?
Lincoln's. What's up, Stu?
And Blaney.
Hey, G.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey, everybody.
hey, Lou,
Oh,
what's
hello,
up?
Miss Blaney. How you
Mr.
doing?
Now's a DJ.
Very
We need a
good.
DJ.
Hey, Miriam.
Hi.
Reese.
All right.
Ready?
Very
Good to
good.
see you, Bill.
I
Yeah.
feel
Good
like
to
every
see you. Good
second
to
we're
see
going
you. Brother Armstead. Are you still on the West Coast?
No, I was never on the West Coast, man.
You were never
Kim.
really?
Ah,
Hello.
I'm right here in Philly, man.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.